Did you know there are countries around the world that American citizens are not allowed to visit in 2025? Some of these places are stunning, but there are serious reasons behind these travel restrictions. Stay tuned to find out which countries are on this list and why your passport won't help you in certain destinations. Hello everyone, and welcome to the channel. If you've ever wondered why some countries remain off-limits to American tourists, you're in the right place. Today, we'll explore 10 countries where Americans can't visit in 2025. These restrictions can range from political tensions to safety concerns or even historical conflicts. By the end of this video, you'll not only know which countries are on this list, but you'll also understand the reasons behind these travel bans. Number 10. North Korea remains one of the most isolated and restricted countries in the world. The country is governed by an authoritarian regime, and the U.S. has no diplomatic ties with North Korea. While some Americans used to travel to North Korea with approved tour groups, this has become increasingly difficult. North Korea has been known for its hostile stance toward the U.S., and political tensions have escalated over the years. The U.S. government has strongly advised against traveling to North Korea due to the risks of arrest and detention. There are strict surveillance systems in place for foreigners, and anything seen as anti-regime can lead to serious punishment. The U.S. has imposed heavy sanctions on North Korea, making travel nearly impossible for Americans. Visiting North Korea requires special approval from both the U.S. government and North Korean authorities, a process that is extremely challenging. Travel to the country has been further restricted due to the global health crisis, with entry being heavily controlled. The political situation in North Korea remains unpredictable, making it too risky for tourists. Number 9. Iran has a complex political relationship with the U.S., dating back to the 1979 hostage crisis. Due to ongoing tensions, Americans face severe travel restrictions to Iran. The U.S. government has consistently warned against travel to Iran, citing the risk of arbitrary detention. Diplomatic relations between the U.S. and Iran have been severed for over 40 years, making it challenging for U.S. citizens to travel. The Iranian government's authoritarian policies make the country an unsafe place for foreign nationals. Although Americans can visit Iran under certain circumstances, the U.S. government requires them to obtain special approval. Travel restrictions are further exacerbated by the risk of arrest and detention for unknown reasons or misunderstandings. Americans may face harassment or interrogation from Iranian authorities, even for innocuous actions. Many U.S. citizens have been detained in Iran on charges of espionage or accusations of espionage. The political climate remains volatile, with regular protests and violence in various regions of the country. Number 8. Venezuela has been facing severe political and economic crises for several years, making it one of the most dangerous countries for American tourists. Inflation has skyrocketed and basic goods, including food and medicine, are in short supply, creating an unstable environment. The U.S. government has imposed heavy sanctions on the Venezuelan government, further isolating the country from the international community. There is a high risk of crime, including robbery, kidnapping, and violent assaults, particularly in major cities like Caracas. Political instability and frequent protests make Venezuela an unpredictable and dangerous destination. The U.S. Embassy in Caracas is closed, meaning that American citizens have no consular support if they encounter problems. While the country has rich cultural and natural attractions, the lack of safety and basic services makes it difficult for tourists to enjoy them. Number 7. Afghanistan remains one of the most dangerous countries for American travelers due to ongoing conflict and political instability. The U.S. government has issued a Level 4 travel advisory for Afghanistan, urging all Americans to avoid the country. The situation in Afghanistan remains volatile, with the Taliban controlling large portions of the country. The U.S. Embassy in Kabul has been closed for several years, leaving Americans without consular assistance in case of emergencies. Terrorist organizations, including ISIS, continue to operate within Afghanistan, posing a serious risk to foreign nationals. The humanitarian situation in Afghanistan is dire, with millions of people suffering from poverty and lack of basic services. Armed conflicts between various factions have led to a breakdown in law and order, making it unsafe to travel. Number 6. Somalia remains one of the most dangerous countries in the world for American tourists due to ongoing conflict and a lack of government control. The U.S. government has issued a Level 4 travel advisory for Somalia, urging all Americans to avoid the country. The threat of terrorism is high, with Al-Shabaab, an extremist group, controlling large portions of the country. Kidnappings and attacks on foreigners are common in Somalia, particularly in areas controlled by militant groups. The U.S. Embassy in Mogadishu has been closed for years, leaving no consular services available for American citizens. Somalia lacks a strong central government, and much of the country is governed by militant and criminal factions. Number 5. South Sudan has been in a state of civil war since gaining independence in 2011, creating an unstable environment for travelers. The U.S. Department of State has issued a Level 4 travel advisory, urging Americans to avoid South Sudan due to the ongoing conflict. Political violence and clashes between armed factions are common, and the security situation remains unpredictable. Despite the country's rich natural resources, South Sudan's economy has been devastated by years of conflict and instability. The humanitarian situation is dire, with millions of people displaced and in need of food, water, and medical assistance. The U.S. Embassy in Juba is limited in its capacity to assist American citizens, leaving them vulnerable in case of emergencies. South Sudan has little infrastructure, and roads are often impassable, making travel difficult and dangerous. Number 4. The Central African Republic is another country plagued by conflict and instability, making it dangerous for American tourists. The CAR has been embroiled in a civil war for years, with various rebel groups controlling different regions of the country. The U.S. government has issued a Level 4 travel advisory for the CAR, strongly advising against travel. The country's weak government and the presence of armed groups make it unsafe for foreign nationals. Violence is rampant, with frequent clashes between militia groups and government forces. Kidnappings, armed robberies, and assaults are common in areas with little to no government control. The U.S. Embassy in Bangui has limited operations, leaving American citizens without immediate consular support. Number 3. Syria has been embroiled in a brutal civil war since 2011, making it one of the most dangerous places for travelers. The U.S. government has issued a Level 4 travel advisory for Syria, advising against all travel. Armed conflict between the government forces, rebel groups, and foreign-backed militants has left the country unstable. There are numerous terrorist organizations operating in Syria, including ISIS, who pose significant risks to foreign nationals. The humanitarian situation is dire, with millions of displaced people and widespread poverty. American citizens are at risk of being caught in violent clashes or terrorist attacks. The U.S. Embassy in Syria has been closed for years, meaning Americans have no consular assistance if they get into trouble. Kidnappings of foreign nationals have been common, especially by terrorist groups seeking ransom. Number 2. Yemen is another conflict-ridden country that remains off-limits for American travelers. The civil war in Yemen has been ongoing since 2015, resulting in widespread violence and insecurity. The U.S. Department of State has issued a Level 4 travel advisory, urging all Americans to avoid travel to Yemen. There is a significant risk of kidnapping, particularly by militant groups operating in the region. Al-Qaeda and the Houthi rebels are active in parts of Yemen, posing a constant threat to foreigners. The country's infrastructure has collapsed, making it nearly impossible for tourists to travel safely. The humanitarian crisis in Yemen is severe, with millions of people facing food and water shortages. Foreign nationals are often targeted for ransom by kidnappers, particularly in conflict zones. The U.S. government has closed its embassy in Yemen, leaving no consular services available to American citizens. Number 1. Libya's political instability continues to make it a dangerous destination for American travelers. Since the fall of Muammar Gaddafi's regime in 2011, the country has descended into chaos. Various armed factions control different parts of Libya, creating an unstable and dangerous environment. The U.S. government has imposed strict travel restrictions on Libya due to the lack of security and the presence of terrorist groups. Armed conflicts between rival factions have made travel in the country perilous, even for seasoned travelers. Kidnappings, attacks, and bombings are regular occurrences in many parts of the country. U.S. citizens face the risk of being caught in crossfire or targeted by extremists. Libya's infrastructure has been severely damaged by years of civil war, making it difficult to navigate safely. The U.S. Embassy in Tripoli was evacuated years ago, and there are limited consular services for Americans. And that's it for our list of the top 10 countries where Americans can't visit in 2025. While some of these countries are filled with rich history and natural beauty, political instability, safety concerns, and other factors have led to restrictions. Always make sure to check the latest travel advisories before planning any international trips. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give us a thumbs up. Stay tuned for more travel updates, and feel free to comment below if you've ever had trouble visiting one of these countries, or if you have any questions about travel restrictions.